Okay, Juno. That'll be good enough. Are you good? Are you gonna lay down? Are you gonna try and bang at the door? Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. You're probably like, wow, you sound great. Thank you, don't I know it? I am just getting off of the worst flu of my entire life. I've been sick for a week. I've been in bed. I've been not allowed even out of the bedroom. This is my first day out of the house. Feels great. Anyways, so if you're like, where have all the videos been? That's why. I just have not been able to physically get out of bed. But we're back. I'm on the mend. And my voice, believe it or not, is like basically back. I'm just still kind of stuffed up in my head. But today's video, I wanted to talk about my experience at GAMA and some of the games that I brought home with me and then some of the games that I saw. If you hear banging, there's going to be two things. Number one, Juno's banging at the door to get out because if I put her out, she bangs to get back in. If I put her in, she bangs to get back out. So it's lose, lose, lose in Juno's world today. And Jeff is building our game shelves, our all play shelves. My God, Juno. Like, you are staying out. Don't even go. You're not coming back in. She's going to smash the door open as soon as I turn around. My God. Anyways, our all play shelves have arrived, so Jeff is out there building them, which is very exciting. Our board games are soon going to have a home, which I love. Let's talk about GAMA. Now, a lot of people who may be watching this, you may have not heard of GAMA before. You might not know what it is, but essentially GAMA is like the association that the tabletop industry like works within. So this is a convention that is more of a trade show than a typical convention. So primarily the participants, the people that are going, are publishers, retailers, manufacturers, and then there are some media, but it's not open to the public. This isn't something that kind of anybody can go to. And essentially the whole purpose is for, well, people to do business and to make deals. It's also an opportunity for publishers to show retailers what they have kind of coming down the pipeline and what they can expect within that year. It's also an opportunity for them to make connections with manufacturers if they have new games to be made. There's also creators that go, and creators in terms of like actual game designers. So they will go there to pitch their games to different publishers or potentially talk to manufacturers and do different things. They have educational sessions, they have events, and then they have an expo hall, which happens at the end. Now, like I mentioned, it's not like there's not a huge media presence in terms of content creators, but there are like a handful that do go or that get invited to go. So you can become a member of GAMA, where you're like a voting member and all of this stuff at a bunch of different like types and levels, and there is a media level within that. I applied to go to GAMA as a content creator to get a free badge. So GAMA did provide me with my badge, as well as I think it's a very small like subsidy, mainly just for like some food and stuff. But I had to pay for my travel and my my boarding myself, basically. So the reason why I want to talk to you about it, because I do have some new games that are coming out that I want to show you, and some new games that I want to talk about that I thought were really exciting. But yeah, so that's what we're here to do today if you're interested. I needed a video that could help me ease back into the living, with the world of the living. But I'm losing my voice already. So let's talk about it. Now, I did go to a few sessions and stuff like that. I'm not really going to talk about them because they're not super relevant. And they don't really have a ton that's really relevant to even media or creators at this point. So if you are a content creator watching and you're like, oh, I don't know whether or not I should go, well, they had a couple of sessions that I went to, but I didn't really find any of the information relevant to me, though I know that they are probably going to be working on that for future years if they're going to be having hosted media. But one of the things that they did on like one of the first nights was a hosted media event where you could come and get a first look at a bunch of different games. And then the other cool thing is that they will then do game nights. So every night there's game nights and there's different publishers that bring their games to demo. So you don't actually get to like sit and play a full game during these game nights, but you get to do like a few rounds, you get to teach, you get the demo, all of that good stuff. So I did demo a few games and I only went to the game night once because I had other kind of events and things that were going on throughout it. Okay, so I'm going to like just go through the list of the places that I actually stopped to look at. But the first was with Asmodee, and they have Pergola, which is the new game that is kind of, it's from Rebel Studio, which is in the Meadow line. So if you see it, if you've seen Meadow, you see Pergola, you're very much so like, oh, these live in the same kind of world. I didn't get to demo it or anything, but they did have it there. They had it set up. It looked really pretty, and from what people were saying that did demo it was very simple, so a lot more maybe straightforward than Meadow is, but that one was really exciting. I wanted to have a look at that. I did get to demo at the OP. They had a new game called Fountains, and Fountains, which I hadn't heard literally anything about, but you are building out like fountains, like you're going up, I keep doing this, you're going up like multiple levels, and then you are basically going around kind of almost like a little rondelle where you're going to be taking a piece of the fountain, putting it into your own little fountain play area, and then there's going to be different scoring moments throughout the game. So you might be scoring for your koi fish, you might be scoring for your different like water sources and your lily pads or your flowers or all of these different things. It was a really cool little puzzle. We played through a couple of rounds of that and I thought that was really interesting. They also had tea witches there from the OP, which I was really excited about. And Manny Vega, the designer, actually gave us a rundown of how that game works. And basically you are tea witches making and delivering tea. The game itself was freaking beautiful. And I know it was one of my most exciting, like anticipated games of the year, and that just made me even more excited for it. I did actually get to go to a breakfast, a media breakfast for Keymaster, where they were showing off the new version of Parks, and we actually got to play it. So we sat, we had breakfast, we played Parks, and for anybody that is unsure about the new version, I believe it's in alpha, I think, or beta on BGA, where I'm playing it right now, but it is different. So it's not the exact same as regular Parks. They have essentially like added some of the expansions from Parks into the main game. They've changed up how the canteen works. They've added in these campsite areas. And so there's a few kind of different things going on besides the way that it looks, which was really helpful to know and get a teach of because I've been playing it on BGA and I was very confused because I'm like, this is something is a little different here, and I didn't know what it was, but now I do. Anyway, so I got to play that, and that was really good as well. Paverson Games had Luthier set up there with almost like the final production copy. It wasn't the final production copy, but it was very, very close, like even nicer than the prototype version that I had, and it looked amazing. And I'm so excited because I was talking to Dave, who runs Paverson Games, and he was talking to me a little bit about distilled cocktails, which is coming out, which I'm very excited for. And I know that they're going to have some new stuff coming up, which hasn't been announced yet, but things are coming and things are going to be very exciting. But Luthier was there and it looked beautiful. If you didn't back it, I think it's going to be I don't know when it's going to be fulfilling, but whenever it hits retail or whenever it fulfills, if you haven't had a chance to back it, this is a game that I would highly recommend because the production's amazing, the gameplay is amazing. If you played Distilled, then you know these are good games. Good games they're making. I also got to have a peek at the final copies of Citizens of the Spark and Emerald Skulls from Thunderworks Games, both of which looked great because I've only gotten to play the prototype versions. The prototype versions of them were very nice, but I got to see like the neoprene mats and everything, and they looked awesome. And those ones are also going to be fulfilling soon because they were on Kickstarter, and I actually think we have Emerald Skulls on the way to us or something, maybe the final version of it, but we are doing giveaways for those in the Gameathon. So if you were curious about trying them, don't forget to join us for the Gameathon because those ones looked really good. Oh, I got to spend some time at the Bezier booth and heard about some of the new stuff that they have coming up, some of which has not been announced yet, so I can't talk about it. But they do have, they were showing off Scream, which is Scram, but like a darker version, almost like a zombie version of Scram. And if you don't know what Scram is, it's very similar to the Silver series, which is a series that you all know that we love, but it is a co-op game. So that's all about like camping and the forest animals and all of that stuff. And this version is if it's like takes place after that and there's zombies and the animals like turn on you and all of this stuff. So if you like the gameplay of Scram and things like Silver, now there's going to be a spooky version because Bezier is doing what they are calling their Year of Fear. They were also showing off Rebel Princess Happily Never After. They were talking about it, which is the next iteration of Rebel Princess, which is really exciting. All Play was there, and they had just like an insane amount of new games coming out, as they always do. All of the little small box games, which all looked great. They have one called Llama Llama that's coming out that looks really fun because I think Panda Panda was like dog poker or cat poker, and Llama Llama is the other one. So it's either dog or cat poker, which is really cool. And then they had just a bunch of different like small box games. So All Play had a bunch of cool stuff coming out. Of course, there was also the Veer Games, and they had set up their newest game, which is, I'm going to put the box cover on the screen because now I can't remember what it was called with my sickness brain, but they were describing it as almost like Terra Mystica-esque. It was a huge game. Like it took up like the entire table. Transgalactica or something like that. So they have a space game coming, and then they also have a new game called Red Carpet that's coming out, and that's going to be their big Gen Con release. And this one is giving me very similar vibes to Picture Perfect, where you're like setting up a picture, and then you're literally using your phone, and you're like putting it there, and you're going to take a picture, and then you have to look at your picture to see what you've captured and what signs you can see, and it's set out on a red carpet, so it's very like glamorous and all of that stuff. Devere makes great games, so I'm very excited for that one as well. Probably the game that I saw that I was the most excited about the whole time that I was there, because I hadn't heard anything about it before, and it has marbles, and I love games that have marbles. Apparently that's a thing. So this is from Good Games Publishing. It's called 12 Rivers. Now, you're going to be putting out these like little squares. They're like barriers along this kind of like mountainside basically. And there's a line of marbles at the top of this elevated board. Once everybody has their stuff out, you're going to lift something and all the marbles are going to go down all of the different pathways, and they're going to donk into these like squares that you've put out, these barriers. And then you're going to be basically selecting a marble. If a bunch of marbles like hit your color, then you get to pick one of those marbles, put it into your llama, and then you get to remove the barrier, and then they continue to go down until they hit another barrier. And it was really unique, and you're basically doing that to collect different marbles to get different kinds of points. Your llamas are going to be transporting them, all of that stuff. It was beautiful. I hadn't heard anything about it, and it just looked really fun. We had a funny moment where I was walking around with Max and Kenny from Table Knots, and I taught them how to play without reading the rule book. And I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure I crushed it, even though they said that I didn't. They said it didn't make any sense, but I believe that I made up the rules to the best of my ability. But the actual game is going to be awesome. I'm very excited. It looks so pretty. I went to the Hachette booth at the expo hall, and they showed me all of their new games, a couple of which, at least one or two of which I have, which I'll show you when we get to the hall. But one that I was very excited about, that they didn't have any they didn't have any copies there to take, but it was called Mythical Dice. And this one, I believe, I want to say it's a Gen Con release, if not maybe a springtime release. This is essentially Skull King, but with dice. So basically, you are going to be pulling a die out of a bag. They're going to be all different colors, and the different color die are going to have different types of die faces. And then you are going to have to vote on how many tricks you think you're going to win with these die, and then you're going to roll your die, and then you're going to see who won the tricks. I just think it looked, first of all, the artwork was amazing. It looked really, really pretty and cool and bright and vibrant. But the idea of a trick-taking game with dice that is very similar to Skull King, I was like beyond sold. I was one of the most excited for that game. And I like immediately brought the Table Knots guys over, and I was like showing it to them because I just think it looked really cool and really unique. So I'm very, very excited for that. They also had Gwent. So if you are somebody who enjoys The Witcher and you want to play Gwent, which is a game within the game that Jeff loves, he played it all the time. Now you can also do that, which is very exciting. With Yellow through Flat River Group, I got to look at a game called Popcorn, which was really cool. So essentially it's set in like a theater, and you are seating guests in the theater for different kinds of movies, depending on what kinds of movies that they actually want to see. And your points are popcorn. It comes with like a little popcorn bucket that you can put your points in that serves no purpose other than it's fun and really cool. And basically you're just trying to like move people through the seats so you could fill more seats and fulfill objectives and do all of this stuff. I hadn't heard anything about it. I thought that it looked really cool. Oh, I also got to play Moon Rollers, which we'll get to that once again in the hall. I got to play Moon Rollers actually like 3 or 4 times, but I played it during the game night, which is like a not roll and write, but it's a dice rolling version that lives in the same world as Moonrakers. It's not like a roll and write version of it, but it lives in that same world. And as somebody who's not really a fan of Moonrakers because I hate negotiation, I freaking loved this game. We played it so many times. I got to play Flamecraft Duels. I got to play a whole game of it, basically. And if you're a fan of Flamecraft like me, and you're like, oh, is this like Flamecraft? Like, it's not like Flamecraft at all. It is just set in the world you're playing with the dragons. But basically, it is an abstract strategy game where you are you're pulling tokens out of a bag, and then you are going to be placing them out onto a board in between 2 people, trying to fulfill like objectives or order cards or whatever they may be by designing different patterns. So it might be like, oh, well, you want red, yellow, red, and you maybe want this configuration of it. So you're just trying to complete as many as you can before the bag runs out, and the other player is trying to do the same, and you're kind of trying to like cut each other off and do these types of things. It was really cool. It was really quick. And we are going to be doing some coverage on the channel for it, which I am very excited for. I did get to take a peek at the new Lord of the Rings Confrontation, which is just exciting. I'm just excited for people to be able to get it again easily. We talked to the guy about it, and he basically said it has everything that the original game has in it and more. So there might be some like extra modes or other things that are added in, but nothing has been like taken away from the original game. So it's like you can play the game as it has always been, or you can add in some new stuff. The only thing they did that is a total difference from the original is they changed the name of one of the locations because it was geographically incorrect. in the original game, so they said. So I thought that was kind of funny. I also went, by the way, to an Asmodee party that was Arkham Horror themed, but really, it was a very interesting party. People ended up doing karaoke, so it got very loud. But I got turned into an Arkham Horror character. Now, I never got the picture. They're supposed to email it to us, or mail it to us. They're supposed to mail it to us. So I don't have it yet. But if I have it, by the time this video gets edited, I'll pop it in. But you got to turn into like one of the investigators, which I thought was really cool. Didn't get a chance to talk to the Smirk and Dagger people, but what I did see is something called Kitten Caboodles. And it just says it's 32-piece accessories for Boop. Floof and spoons. I don't know. I'll just insert the image, the picture that I have. I don't care what it is. I freaking want it. But yeah, those are kind of the ones that stand out to me. Obviously, I saw like a ton more games. I went to like the 25th Century booth. They had so much stuff there. They had just like, there were just so many games. There weren't like a ton of new things that you maybe haven't heard of, and some things that I got to see are secrets and I can't tell you about them, unfortunately. But what I did want to do is show you the games that I came home with. Now, obviously, everything was gifted to me. This is not like a selling convention. Nobody sells games at GAMA. So basically what the publishers do is they bring games to give away to retailers so that they can have them as demo copies in their stores, or they can test them out to see if something they might be interested in, or they usually bring some copies for media so that we can have them to hopefully cover them. So I'm going to go through everything that was gifted to me. And then that way, when Jeff and I do our first board game haul, once all of our shelves and everything are done, this will save us a few games that we have to cover because it's going to be insane. So here we go. The first game that I was gifted was, and this I say first, but the first one I'm showing you is Slide, and this one is from Hachette Games. And if you remember Line It, which I believe was their last year release in this kind of box, it's like the same kind of line of games, but obviously it is different. And in this game, you are sliding different cards to basically make matching. You want the numbers to go next to matching numbers, but it's kind of like a slide puzzle. So like you put a card in, it slides, this one might go out, all of that stuff. So because I loved Line It so much, I was interested in this because I do like these just kind of small box card games. So that was from Hachette, but it is from Gigamac, but Hachette is the distributor. Also from the Hachette booth, I got Pina Colada dice. Like pina colada, but pina colada dice. Cola dice. Anyways, this one is from Yellow, and this is kind of like a dice placement, dice manipulation game. I got the rundown of it, and I thought that it looked really cool, but it's so simple. It literally says right here, roll the dice, make combinations, claim the best spaces, gain points, or line up 4 tokens for an instant victory. So just a simple like dice rolling game. I thought it was really pretty, and it looked super interesting. I think I got more from the Hachette booth, but I'll have to get to that when I get to it because I'm just going to grab and show. I did get a copy of Moon Rollers from Ivy Studios. This is like the only Ivy Studios game that we didn't have, and I freaking love it. So I played it at the game night, then I played it again like 2 or 3 more times. So it's for 2 to 5 players. Basically, you are rolling 5 dice in order to complete different mission cards so that you can put them in front of you, and you are trying to collect either 3 of the same color or 1 of each color. There might be another condition as well. And there's different, like your cards, once you get them, they will allow you to manipulate the dice. I loved it. This is very good. If you're into like push your luck games, highly recommend. Randomly, from the Golden Goose, I think they were called Golden Goose booth, the guy just gave me this. I walked by and he's like, oh, have you played any of these games? And I was like, yeah, I love these games. I own Orchard and Forge, but I don't have Grove. And then he said, here you go. And he just gave it to me. So there's that. I don't actually I don't think that they were a publisher, but maybe they were. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyways, I ran into at the Draco Studios booth the lovely people who did Party Panda Pirates. If you'll remember, Jeff and I covered this game forever ago. I mean, it was sometime last year, I think. And this is the final copy because we only ever had the prototype. So they gifted me with the final copy as a thank you for covering the game. It's a really cute little party style. It's like a bunch of mini games, like party mini games, basically. All right, from Rebellion Studio, or Rebellion Unplugged, I did get Joyride, Survival of the Fastest, as well as the High Seas expansion. Everybody knows I love a racing game, and I've never played this, and I've been very interested in playing it. And Max from Table Knots says that he likes it more than Thunder Road Vendetta and Heat. So we'll see, because I think it's kind of a bit of a mix of those games, but they gifted me with that one, which I was very excited about. Oh, here's another Hachette game. Game. This is Micro Macro Jigsaw Funfair. This is a Micro Macro Crime City jigsaw puzzle, which I'm very excited about because, well, I love puzzles, but also, for anybody that doesn't know, on our second channel, Everyday Magic with Foster the Meeple, I'm doing a Hobby of the Month club, and one of those months is puzzles. And I was like, what a nice way to meld my two loves together. So not only does this build out a map, basically like Micro Macro, but then there is a little game that you could play with the finished puzzle and stuff. So I'm excited. I don't know. I love Micro Macro Crime City. And I was like, a puzzle? That's neat. Okay. I have another bag over here too. The lovely people at Pegasus Spiel randomly found me and saw me and gave me this, which is Bombbuster's special Valentine's Day mission. So it's just in a little bag, which I thought was really cool. We haven't played Bombbusters yet, but I'm very excited too. From Lucky Duck Games, we got Potions of Azurland. Now, here's a funny story about this game. Me, Jeff, and Mike are playing this on BGA because I invited them to a game, but none of us have learned how to play it. And we are all just clicking around and having a great time. So I don't know much about this game, except obviously you're making potions. And it has Andrew Bosley art, so it's got really nice art. But this must be a new game. I hadn't heard literally anything about it. Then for the Gameathon, they also gifted us with Critter Kitchen. So if you don't know, we are playing Critter Kitchen during the Gameathon. So I'm pretty excited about that. And they also gave us the expansion, which is great. So I got that one. That one I knew I was picking up because we needed it for the Gameathon. From Capstone Games, they gifted us with Galileo Galilei. And if you'll remember, Jeff and I actually covered this game whenever it was on Kickstarter. So that I would have been at some point in the past year. So I'm very happy, very, very happy to have a production copy because we loved this game. This is a very, very good game. So I was excited to see that Capstone picked it up because I think it's a good fit for them. I did get also from Capstone, they gifted us with, Galileo Galilei. They gifted us with Tea Garden. So I don't know anything about this game. It looks very pretty. From Arcane Wonders, we had Floresta, which we were playing during the Gameathon as well. Which we were playing during the Gameathon as well. So we had a super early prototype of it. So this is, I think this is a final copy of it, which is good because we needed that one. Once again, I knew we'd be getting that one. And then last but not least, also, oh, yeah. I think I brought everything in. Pretty sure. Last but not least, I did get a new copy of Parks. So this is the newer version with the new artwork and the new gameplay, all of that stuff. So like I said, this is different from the original, which is very exciting as well. And that reminds me, Keymaster is going to do a giveaway for this during our Gameathon. It was a late edition giveaway, which is really exciting. So happy about that if you'd like a new copy of Parks. But I think that's everything that I got. I did get an expansion for Acropolis. I'm pretty sure. It's just like a little card expansion. But I tried not to take too much because I had to buy a whole extra suitcase as per usual. Eventually I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, so that's what I got at GAMA. Overall, my GAMA experience was really good. I stayed at an Airbnb with Nick and Mike from the Brothers Murph. And I think that was the right choice because we saved a ton of money staying at an Airbnb. A few things happened, though, that I will mention. Traveling in the winter is never great. So there was a storm on the day that I was supposed to travel home. So my trip got delayed one day. That one day cost me about an extra $1,200 because I had to get a hotel room and switch my flight. Then there were more storms. And I was supposed to leave Thursday morning. I didn't end up leaving until Sunday morning. So the trip itself cost me almost an extra $2,500, which was crazy. And during that time, I also caught the flu. And I'm assuming, I'm almost positive it happened it definitely happened after I was originally supposed to leave. So if I was able to leave when I was supposed to, I never would have gotten sick probably. But anyways, then I've been out dead in bed for a good solid week, the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. So just know if you are a content creator or somebody in the industry that's considering going, it does happen during cold and flu season. So I mean, we all get sick at every convention. Nothing has ever hit me quite so hard, but just as like a friendly reminder, make sure that you wash your hands, wear masks, do all that stuff. I did not wear a mask. I did wash the heck out of my hands as I always do, but sometimes it just is what it is. But I'm a little bit incoherent, so I don't know everything that I talked about, but hopefully I covered a lot. And hopefully some of it was interesting to you. But I think that's everything that I have for today's video. I'm going to go check on Jeff, maybe take a quick power nap because I have to film another video. And I'm currently in this current state, not quite ready to do that. But that's everything that I have for you all today. I hope, what do I usually say? If you're interested in buying board games, like any of the many that I talked about today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. For us, that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Goodbye! Oh my god, this is going to be tough.
The look you give me anytime I come in to tell you something while you're filming is like pure hatred.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Like.
Yes, Jeffrey.
I don't know if you knew.